Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Mitch from We in Tennessee. In my last video, I shared with you our Disney World vacation where I realized that the big rides were not going to make this guy very happy. I guess I have some kind of aging motion sickness where I cannot go on these big rides anymore. The bummer part was it was the first day of our vacation, second ride, the Everest Expedition. After I got off that ride, I just realized, you know what? Those days are over for me. So here are the three things that saved my Disney World vacation, even though I couldn't go on the big rides. The first one was the World Showcase at Epcot. I was blown away. I knew there were different like countries represented, but the way to see it in person, it was just amazing and blew my mind. We first went to France because my girls wanted to go on Ratatouille. Ratatouille was not necessarily the greatest ride to go on. So if you have some kind of motion or visual sickness, I don't know if I'd recommend that, but got off that ride okay. The feeling of the architecture and just, being around the buildings, it was just amazing to me. I got my camera out and was just snapping photos left and right. It just made me very happy. And then we went to Italy because we were so hungry. Now, my wife is Italian, and I've always wanted to take her to Italy. And it felt like I kind of did, just walking around, and you just are meant to feel like you're there. And what was really cool about the World Showcase is they actually have workers from that country working there in that specific land. So you feel like you're really there because the people are from that place. We spoke to a gentleman in the Via Napoli restaurant. We had the best pizza there. And we just asked them because their name tag says that they're from Italy. And we said, well, what's your story? And he said, well, we're on this 1 year program. And we said, are you going to be sad to go back to Italy? And he's like, well, yeah. But he said, you give and take. There's some things that he likes about America and things that he's excited to go back for. But we had the greatest pizza at Via Napoli. So if you ever go there, I highly suggest it. But then as we walked around to the different lands, Japan and Mexico, I was just so captivated by just the architecture and just how they made it feel like you're actually there. So my wife and I even talked about going back, just to enjoy the World Showcase another time in the future. And I was like, I'm on board. So it was the greatest time. And so that's what really made me come to life. Because after Everest Expedition, I was like, man, I'm really bummed out. Like, what am I going to do now? But that World Showcase was something that I'm really looking forward to going back and seeing the other places that we didn't get a chance to go to because of time. I really want to like go back and see those places again. The second thing that I learned that saved my Disney World vacation was the rides that you can actually just shoot. I was like, I didn't realize how competitive I was. Like, I know I'm competitive, but I was like, I got to beat my wife. I got to beat my kids. And so the ones I'm talking about are Toy Story Mania. That's going to be at the Hollywood um, part of the Disney World. And then the Buzz Lightyear one. That's going to be at the Magic Kingdom. I was just, I didn't even realize I was on a ride. I was just so competitive, trying to shoot all those targets. I'm a huge Toy Story fan, so I love both those rides. And it just made me come to life. I came off the ride going, that was amazing. Let's go back on. Because all you're doing is just shooting at targets and you're trying to score the most points you can. I didn't win any of them, but I still came off feeling like a winner because I just really enjoyed those rides. So again, if you're like me where you can't stomach some of the big rides and you're competitive like me, those are the two rides I would highly suggest going on over and over again. Check the little secrets online because they show you how to get the most points, but I didn't check that until we got home. Anyway, and the third thing what would be is I would say to just enjoy the cast members. Like, have fun with the cast members. We went to the Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, and I was just hamming it up with, the resistance, like the army people. I would crack jokes. This one lady came up to me and said, "How does it feel to be in the least desired spot?" Like there was a spot where nobody wanted to be. And I said, "I love it." And I actually saluted her, and she's like, "Why are you saluting me? Like, you're the enemy." And we just had fun just going back and forth. And there were other rides where you just like ham it up with the cast members, ask them about their story, like we did with the guy at the restaurant. Just connect with the people there, because they must see people come and go all day, and it would just make their day. And I bet you when they respond back to you, it'll make your day to just have that back and forth while you're waiting. Talk to them about, their job, talk about their story, talk about, how do they feel about their job? What's the best part of their job? To just brighten the mood. But I just love the people connection, and talk to people in line for a ride. If you're going on a ride that maybe the rest of your group wants to go on that you really don't, find out from. I really had a great conversation with a group that was from the UK. We talked for like 15 minutes because the line was so long. And it was just so good to hear their story. They asked about my story, and we just had a great time just connecting. You're seeing people from all over the world, because everybody comes to Disney World, and you just get to share these stories that you don't get to hear a whole lot of. And so at the end of the day, not that, again, it's going to be perfect, because I really wanted to ride the big rides. But the fourth kind of bonus is just being there with your family. I just enjoyed watching my kids come off of a ride that I couldn't go on. And I just said, "How was it?" And they're like, "It was amazing." So I got a chance to just kind of relive the rides that I never got a chance to, go on right now. But when I used to go on, just getting that vibe back, like, yeah, I want to see the excitement in my kids' faces that I used to have going on these rides. And I didn't want to spoil it for them. I'm just like, I'll sit this one out, but you guys let me know how it was when you get off of it. So that was something huge for me. And so all that to say, when you go on these Disney World vacations, try to look for the positive things that, will make your trip amazing, even if you have some disappointments like not being able to go on the big rides, because your family deserves it. You spent a lot of money to enjoy yourself, so you might as well try to look on the positives. And then on the other side, you might find out, hey, I really like some things that I never even thought of, like that World Showcase. Man, I got to go back. So thank you guys for clicking on that video before. I'll throw it down in the comments section, and I'll throw it down in the description of just showing you my disappointment from not being able to go on big rides, but I'm excited to see all of the new things that I learned I can love despite not being able to go on those rides. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on this video. I'll see you in my next video.